This is Just War Journals episode 13, and my name is Johannes, also known on the internet as Frankie, and with me today is...
Magnus, known as Magoff or Magwiz on the forum.
And he's back! You've been waiting so long! Months of wait! Luda is here!
Yes, the lost puppy.
Yes!
Finally found again. Lassie, where are you?
I've been astray for so long now. I'm finally in from the cold or something like that.
Yeah, but it's been a crazy couple of months for us all, I think.
Yeah, still going.
Life happened.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's just, you just have to roll with it.
Yeah, basically. Has any of us had any hobby time recently?
Me, no, not at all. I started renovating the apartment now, so everything is basically packed up.
Yeah. And I can kind of consolidate with that with my moving apartment. So
yeah, it's much. Even worse. You pack down everything.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely everything. It's like 100 moving cartons. So yeah, it's gonna be a while. I'm just itching because I kind of have abstinence. I haven't played a dust match in weeks.
Too long.
Yeah, way too long. And I really want to finish my Humbers and get going with my Desert Scorpions. I'm so looking forward to trying that out. So, but how about you, Luda?
Yeah, well, I've actually had a quick fix. I had a great time last weekend with Martin, a friend, and we played 2 games at least. And I got to try out some new units, which I haven't played before. I'm in love, or what do you call it, with the Tesla 47, the new Tesla Walker.
The much maligned that we kind of downplayed before.
Yeah, I only bought it because I had to have it. I mean, because it was for the collection. But I put it together, and while I was building that, it was something happened in me. And just the guns, I mean, the huge Tesla guns, that... I'm sorry, this is going off in the wrong direction, I know. But
already?
Already. And we just
stay down,
stay
down.
I'm trying. But seriously, when you put that beautiful walker together, you place it, you don't even place it. You don't want to let it go out of your hands. You just, I mean, I'm sorry. It's a enormously nice looking model, and I'm going to play it many times just by the sheer beauty of it. But of course it made some voodoo trick in the game with Martin, and it went almost toe with 2 Punishers. Okay, it had some backup, it wasn't alone in the list, but it actually almost took down 2 Punishers, almost. And it was just amazing to see it moving on the tabletop. It was I still think it's overpriced. I still think it's not usable, but game experience-wise, it was amazing.
Yeah, and that's something that we really should take to heart, that we kind of have a tendency to kind of armchair general the game a bit when we do the pod. We kind of analyze the stats of the cards and stuff like that, and we have to kind of keep that in mind, that just because it looks a certain way when you just look at the stats, that doesn't mean that it actually plays that way. So you'd really need to have some personal experience with the unit to actually get a kind of a good idea of what my personal kind of relation to this unit is.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that is super true with the specialized units, like for example Type 47 Walker, that has like special roles. For some people it works, and for some people it doesn't.
Yeah.
So
and it's very much depending on your kind of playing style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and in this case it was also my opponent's playing style.
Oh yes.
Because Martin has a special way of playing. It's a brutal way, a lot of heavy tanks, and of course it matched up very good against those heavy tanks. But I also actually have started, and perhaps this is not the right time to talk about it, but I've started a new game board, which my goal is to be finished on if we have another Dust Nordic, and if the ones who arrange Dust Nordic in the spring sometime, if they want to use it, I do it for them at that time. So it's I think it's perhaps a little bit over ambitious, but I've started now. I think I am 15% done, so I'm actually I've been.
That sounds exciting.
Looking forward to seeing that.
And I hope I can make actually tie that game board with 2 other game boards, so those 3 will be connected in some way. Not that you play on them.
No, but like visually.
Yes, visually.
Yeah, okay.
They have a theme, and they are at the same place.
I
and
like
stuff
that
like
idea.
Yeah.
We will see if it pan out, but so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our personal news for the month, basically.
Yeah.
So let's go to some game news, and there's actually been a lot in the recent month. So first off, the official online-based campaign has been launched, Endless War. This has been teased for a long time, and now it's finally here. And we actually don't have that much details on how it works or how it will continue to work, but it's basically a sign-up form on a web page. You can choose your favorite block. You can also can check in which blocks that you actually collect. So you don't have to, and you can change, from what I've heard, you can change the block.
Yes, you can, and that's so beautiful. Sorry to interrupt here, but it's foolproof, it seemed.
Yeah.
Because I, of course, fucked up the first thing I did. I did something wrong, so when I finally registered, I had not put in any blocks that I owned, and I think I had put in myself for Allied or something like that, and of course I'm going to play SSU. But I sent an email, and I think I was like 5 minutes later, I got a reply, which also was amazing. I think that, no, just calm down. You can change whenever you want and whatever you do. So, great, quick service.
Absolutely. The way this works is that you play your game against, any opponent that you can find to play it, and then you submit the result of the game if you won on a web form. And the results from this is then going to shape the overall campaign and, kind of decide the fate of various regions of the Dust world. It's going to be extremely exciting to see how this one shakes out.
Definitely, I am super excited
about it.
Yeah,
it's a really cool concept. I mean, it has been done before, I would say. It's not a new concept in that sense. But
in wargaming in general.
Yeah, exactly. But this one is, they made it so simple.
Yeah.
So it's just enough to like engage people to find that extra drive to want to do this. And still it's simple enough, so I think it will not be...
It's not a big hurdle to overcome.
Yeah, exactly. And also from the Dust Studio side, I'm thinking they will not be like overwhelmed with
support questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Except from Ludde.
Yeah, well, of course. I will be submitting support questions every day, as I always do. It feels like they have not done another KS, a Kickstarter, I mean. So even if we are just massively overexcited with this, it seems like they can handle it.
I think this is a really good idea, and I hope it will go really smooth and really work for them.
We'll see how this kind of shakes out. At the moment, there is not any specialized scenario that you should play for the campaign. Just play whatever you want, it seems.
Yeah, but they will release some special scenarios.
Yeah, and from what we've heard, it's going to be one new scenario each month, and that's the scenario for the campaign.
Right.
And I think that the scenarios is kind of going to be tailored to a specific region of the map or something. We'll see how it shakes out. It's really exciting. We're really just in the starting phase of this, so not that much information. But it's cool.
So, and if you haven't seen it, you should really go there, all of you guys out there, and check it out. endlesswar.dustusa.com.
Right, so go there, register, and fight for your block and your right to party.
Yeah, and when you play SSU, you lose. Just to make sure.
So that's what you're planning to?
Yeah, basically, I think it was my subconscious that made me choose the Allied. Because I'm thinking that I'm going to play Allied, I'm going to lose every game as long as I play SSU. And then it's the only sure way to get global domination.
It's the only way to be sure.
Some more news. There haven't really been any completely new units released in the last month, but there's been some re-releases. We have the Heavy Grenadier Anti-Tank Squad and the Laser Tank Hunter Squad from the Blutkreuz. Those are re-released now in separate boxes this time instead of in the same box as it was back in the FFG days. And we also have the Fallschirm RSO with the laser cannon and the Luftheinrich in new premium versions. And these are the first units that have the Condor pattern. So this is kind of going forward. It's a little more kind of tropical than the Babylon, which was very much sand-based, but these are more green, a bit more tropical feeling, I think.
Yeah, and you get the feeling that they're now just taking a breath after all the trucks and the Chinese, and they're just soon they will exhale and they will boom something.
We're going to get back to that.
Yes.
There's been another big release, also not a physical product, but a digital one. The official Army Builder app, Dust 1947 Enlist. And at the moment it's only available on Android devices, but it's been submitted to the Apple iOS App Store as well, so it should turn up there sooner or later. At the moment it's still in alpha stage, so there are some bugs, there are some mistakes on the cards, on the stats, but overall it looks kind of cool. I mean, there's a collection kind of tracking, so you can filter by what units you actually own. So that helps you build your army that way.
Or what you have painted, actually.
Yeah, and also what you have painted. That's another thing you can do. It calculates platoons, it calculates faction bonuses. But it has some problems. I think the most amusing bug we've seen so far in the very early version, this has been fixed now, but I think the most fun thing we saw was that the stats for the Snowlinks,
yes, that
the
was hilarious.
Sigrid von Thaler's custom Jagdluther, it instead of the normal kind of dual rifles, the anti-tank guns, it was listed as having 120 phaser guns.
I still don't see what the problem was. So, I mean, it's Sigrid. It's Sigrid, it's her special walker.
Yeah,
to
just
me,
refitted a little bit,
yes.
put some extra guns on it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I just kind of wonder if you could actually see the walker behind all those guns.
Yes, somewhere under all the guns there's a walker.
So that's been fixed, fortunately or unfortunately.
But it also started me at least hoping that we will see a new Sigrid walker with laser cannons or something like that.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Absolutely.
Some experimental Bloidkreuz.
Yeah.
She could be shooting zombie fluids or something, I don't know.
But there were some kind of new surprises hidden in the app as well. 4 units that has not been previewed before, that we haven't seen the stats for in any other way. And 2 of those are 2 Desert Scorpion trucks, the Assault Truck and the Mortar Truck. And if we go through these real quick, the Assault Truck, 14 points, it has raid assault vehicle and can carry 2 passengers, and it has a grand total of 5 machine guns. So yeah.
It's a cool vehicle, I like it.
Yeah.
2 passengers though.
Yeah, that's a bit weird actually. So
what will they be placing in that, I wonder? Is it the crossbow ninja?
Oh yeah.
She could be in it. And of course the bullseye. He could be in it. You could have the sniper team that is coming.
Yeah, the sniper team could be a very interesting pick actually.
Yeah, but I mean, can you really put 2 heroes in it?
Why not?
2 heroes can't share the same square.
Oh yes, that's actually but
But
it's not in the same square.
No, I'm not sure about this actually. It's a question really. I don't know.
That's a good point, and that's something we should have thought of before, because we had that thing a few months back with Emma and Winterchild in a chopper. And that should be then part of the same rule if they can't occupy the same space.
If they can't stand in a square, they shouldn't be able to be
in the same transport.
No.
That's an interesting rules question. We have to look into that. The other truck, the Mortar Truck, 10 points, and it has a heavy mortar and 4 machine guns. So I like this. It's a mobile mortar. and it's not that much expensive than a normal mortar, really. So I can see myself using this.
Oh yes, that's the only problem with the trucks. They're 40 euros each, or something like that. Or was perhaps even more. I don't know. And then you have to have at least 6, because you gotta have one of each. I can't see my budget allowing this, so
You have to space it out. You can't have all of the things at the same time. So.
Oh, I know. Next order from War Factory I'm dreading it. It will be.
There's also 2 new Merc walkers. This time based on the Tropical M3 chassis from the Allies, the Pounder Mickey walkers. The first one is called the Meat Grinder, 13 points. And just to be clear, we have seen another version now of these cards which are slightly different, and we don't know exactly how this will turn out. So this is the stats that are in the app at the moment. So this might change from when the actual units are released. But Meat Grinder, 13 points. Scout skill, it's got a heavy mortar, and it has 4 machine guns, so it's very similar to the mortar truck in many ways, but it's a bit more resilient, and it's also more expensive, but it has scout, which is really cool. The other one, which is the one that I'm really looking forward to, the Pulverizer. 14 points, scout, and double recoilless guns. 1 heavy machine gun and 1 twin heavy machine gun. Everything is pointing towards the front. So this is just a really aggressive vehicle, and I just love it to death. And the mercenaries really needed something like this, because if it's one thing that the mercenaries as a block was missing, it was anti-tank capability. And this is definitely pretty good anti-tank.
Yeah, the double recoilless guns are really good actually. I'm not sure about the complete package of it. I haven't really given that much thought yet. And this isn't, like you said, we've only seen it in the app and some other version on the internet. But it looks very interesting, and it's really nice to see that the mercenaries are getting fleshed out.
Yeah, it's great that they get new vehicles, and I like the vehicles in themselves, or so to speak. I would have hoped that it wouldn't have been. I feel they are a little bit too similar to the Wrecker, the same type. I would like. I mean, they're light walkers. I would have loved to have the next vehicle that came out perhaps be a 5.6 or something like that, or or something flying or something. I don't know. It just feels like they are still in the same pond or something like that. Perhaps they are meant to be there to fix problems in other blocks or something like that.
Yeah, but we don't really know how the design kind of philosophy for the Mercs work in the long term. But I kind of get that feeling. There aren't really supposed to be a fully functional block in and of themselves.
Yeah.
Because you can use them in every other block.
And I was like, I've always been wanting to do a mercenary army. I have a few of the demolition girls, of course, and I have some machine gun, and I have the wrecker and stuff like that. But this doesn't do it for me to advance my mercenary units. I mean, to buy more and to do that. I'm still looking for something different, something more unique, something more. But they are great walkers, and I expect to be seeing especially that dual recoilless rifle walker popping up in front of me at numerous times and events. No problem there. And I will enjoy seeing mercenary walkers on the playing field. So it's good, but I was hoping there were going to be something different, unfortunately.
Oh, we'll see. There's also been a few previews, some upcoming stuff. Just a couple of hours ago, as when we recorded this, the Dust USA Facebook page uploaded some images of box art for some upcoming stuff. We have a lot of new Luftwaffe unit boxes, and I suspect that this means that these units are going to be released very, very soon. Otherwise, they wouldn't have uploaded the box art images, I guess. So, for instance, we have the Luftwaffe Raketentruppe Hero Pack. So that's Kauri, Goliath, and Raketenman. That's one box. We have a lot of steel guards re-released, so you can finally get some of the hard-to-get steel guard in just a single box. And then a new truck box which contain the assault truck, mortar truck, and transport truck. Or rather, you buy one box and you can build one of those three.
Yeah.
And there's also a new Allied Light Walker box. And this is the Wildfire, Bushmaster, or Honey. So this is also really cool. Yeah.
The Bushmaster, which is that?
The Bushmaster is the one with the double recoilless guns at the side.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one in the Rhino starter box.
Yeah, of course. I'm sorry. Yeah, totally been out of it.
No, it's the USMC starter box. I'm sorry.
The Diver.
Yes,
Yeah,
Diver has that one. Yeah,
but I understood
true.
at least what you were talking about. So, and there's no inclination on that box if it's just a block box.
It's USMC and allies. It says very clearly.
Okay.
So you get both variants of the cards, I'm suspecting.
Well, I'm hoping that because the double barrel, the one with the Bushmaster, I would have loved that one for the block.
Yeah, we don't know how exactly it will kind of shake out if we're going to get that version of all of them.
Yeah.
We just have to wait and see.
But so far, I think it's only the Wildfire that has been for both in the preview files of the cards.
Yeah.
The Wildfire was both block version and USMC version.
Yes.
And if the Bushmaster only is the USMC, that will of course be good in itself. In another aspect that it makes the USMC unique, it's only for them. I would love that also, but since I'm not playing USMC and I like the Bushmaster, I wouldn't mind if it was for the block, but I would also appreciate it if it wasn't, if you know what I'm saying, the dualistic thing there.
Oh yes. We're still all slaves under the faction bonus.
Yeah.
There's also been some shots of the upcoming cultist models from a tournament in France. We had some people snapping a few pics on that. It looks really, really good. Just incredible detail with all the kind of cultist markings and necklaces and stuff. I can't wait to just see how these look in person because they look awesome just from the photos.
And the new pillars I love also. That's inspired me to start to try to make my own pillars with the doors inside and stuff like that. I love all those photos.
Some of those upcoming terrain shots are just lovely.
Yeah.
And I think the most divisive preview we've seen in a long time, the Japanese infantry squad, the close combat cadets or whatever they're going to be called. So yeah, it's 5 Japanese schoolgirls with Uzis and katanas.
Yeah. What more can you want?
I mean,
I'm sorry.
Come on, it's cheesecake. It's some people say this is not dust. Of course it's dust.
Yes, it is. It's
Dust has always been silly.
That's true.
Am I the only one not feeling it silly? I'm just feeling it totally normal, totally functional. It's of course, why not? It's a type of camouflage for them. I mean,
of course,
a ninja style.
It's distracting.
No one will think, oh, those innocent little schoolgirls pose a threat, so they get up close and then they use the katanas.
Yeah.
And if someone have seen them before, they have the machine guns to, eradicate the problem. It's totally logical. It's nothing problematic with it. But actually, is it many people who has? I've seen 2 comments on Facebook who are negative, and one I just thought because we know him, I just thought he posted it just to spite people, or because it was not Germans. If it were German schoolgirls, he would have loved them.
I try to kind of follow the discussion on many different places, and on the official Facebook page, the kind of comments has been overall generally very positive. On other non-dust specific Facebook pages, it's been a bit more mixed, and there are some certain points that's been almost entirely negative. And that's not dust specific kind of discussion groups. So that maybe the people who don't play dust anymore are the ones that really don't like it. The ones who are actively playing it seem to like it fine.
Yeah, but then I mean that's not a problem then.
No.
If the people
Really?
who don't play Dust don't like them, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I could understand if people were like opposed if they were sculpted like young schoolgirls, because then it could be, I mean,
this
but I
could be
feel-
slightly problematic.
Yes,
but these,
at least
yeah.
the photos I've seen, they look like they are women.
Yeah,
more
they are young women, but they are
so,
adults. Yes.
if it were the other way, I would be offended by it as well, because then it would be tasteless.
Yes.
It has to be some sort of
And they aren't really kind of posing in any provocative poses. That's what the mercs are for.
Yeah.
So
yes. If you have a problem with them, you shouldn't look at the mercs.
No, really. And the mercs themselves are just kind of an homage to the era's pin-up kind of style.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have a big problem with that as well either.
Yeah, and we had actually now it's me and names. I can't even pronounce Georgie's last name, so I always get help with
Greg?
it. Greg.
Boisbelot?
Yeah.
Greg?
I think I read something that his wife also...
Alicia.
Alicia, of course. Sorry, her name eluded me for a second there. She posted a comment or something. I don't know if it was a spiteful comment or something, that someone had made a comment that they were not properly dressed, or there was something wrong with their attire, but she just put in something like, no, but they're all made the way they are when they are resting. So they are not in actual combat in any of them.
Yeah.
So they are made, if they were in actual combat, they would have actual combat gear on them.
Yeah.
You always see them when they are having fun, just
Goofing around.
Yeah, goofing around and just irritating or just provocative or something, or whatever they're doing. I mean, so, and if you... I think that's it's an okay way to
and I mean, you
work
always have to remember that the community is made up of all kinds of people. So
Yes,
no matter what kind of models are released, no matter what they look like, there's always going to be players who hate them, and there's going to be players who love them, and most will be somewhere in the middle. So yeah.
So, some kind of rumors or kind of unsubstantiated stuff. There's been quite a thing about choppers recently, because we kind of realized that there was one unit in the old preview PDFs before the actual new cards were printed that wasn't in the actual card pack, and that was the controller helicopter for the SSU. So a helicopter with the air
controller.
It's called the air controller skill. Yeah.
You can both make it easier to hit other airplanes, which is the same that the Allied HQ Walker has.
And the air alert.
Yeah, the air alert. You have air alert, and then you have the
air traffic control.
Yeah, like Red Ace and Rick Ives have.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the only two characters who have that. And that actually, well, you know, I have another thing there. What happened, guys? I'm sorry if I'm just freaking out because you're talking about choppers. I played with the Red Ace a few days ago, and she got shot out of her chopper. Of course, she was hunted down, but she stood on the ground and she was in 2 spaces of 2 of my other choppers. Now, normally a hero can shout 2 spaces to a unit. Now, I did not reactivate the chopper because I thought that the sound the chopper made and the glasses were all, so we didn't do the reactivation. But we were arguing that perhaps she could sign with her hands or something like that. I mean, kill that guy over there or something or give the chopper the finger or something. I don't know, but
yeah, I understand what you mean, and I've actually asked this question quite some time ago now. I actually forgot about it. I asked this question to Olivier. I don't think he actually answered that particular one, so maybe I will.
Yeah, if you hear this,
try
Oliver,
to ask him
please
again.
Ask.
Actually, I was thinking about the the jamming skill, which the Axis, what's it called? Axis plane?
Oh, yes.
Stork?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
Storch.
Storch,
Yeah,
yeah.
Storch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Storch. That skill affects any other skill that uses a radio. So that was also one of the questions that I had about this. So exactly what skills uses a radio?
Yeah,
Does the air traffic control use a radio or not?
Yeah, she ought to. I mean, at least.
Yeah,
To
and,
me, but-
exactly. And if can she even use it if I mean Red Ace if she's not inside a helicopter?
Yeah, it's not really that well defined at the moment.
No.
Yeah.
So
So
And when you play the Red Ace, and you usually have more than one chopper, and they usually go for Red Ace because they feel she is the threat.
yeah,
So your strikers, your burners, and everything else are left alone, and they hunt your Red Ace. So it's not a strange question actually. I think it's something that could pop up quite frequently because they take down Red Ace. She's on the ground. And I actually had Jack
with
over
more
in-
helicopters coming out
Yeah.
and the new Axis
Yeah.
airplanes, we're probably going to see more airplanes being
Yeah.
played. So yeah, this
That
will
would
probably
be,
come up. And actually, I think the air traffic control skill needs a little bit more clarification, also because it does not have the stipulation that the officer, what's it called, get moving skill have. Meaning, if you use get moving and
Yeah,
succeed,
your turn ends.
the officer turns ends. Yeah, exactly. But if you use air traffic control, it doesn't say that your activation ends if you succeed or not. So
Thank you,
this
Magnus.
will get kind of weird and strange.
it could be like an
Yes.
interrupted turn that's kind of
Yeah,
Because that
so
could really be, I
let's-
want to send one chopper ahead.
So
And
let's say Red Ace, she rolls
Oh.
for her Ace Air Pilot and get
Yeah.
3 actions, and
Yeah.
she uses them
All
to
three
reactivate
to
stuff
Yeah.
with all of them.
Yeah, she can reactivate 3 choppers then.
Yeah, and she succeeds in the first.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's
You
just
see
an
the
oversight.
problem.
Yes.
Yeah, you see the
yes.
problem there.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's an oversight.
And I was just thinking, oh, how interesting. I'll reactivate the striker or the burner, and they go forth and soften up the target, and then she puts in, or if she's already in, just beside the targets you want
Yeah,
to
but
kill.
I mean,
so she can sustain fire,
there will
but
be
she can still
so many
send one.
weird situations.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that probably it's an oversight that
Yeah.
it should have the exact same wording as get moving. If you succeed, the activation will end immediately. Because if not, there's going to be a lot of weird stuff happening.
Oh yes, yes.
Definitely.
This opened the door, so.
Okay.
Going back to the controller chopper.
Yes.
Yeah, the kind of question was this kind of an oversight? Was this an unexpected preview or something? Are we going to actually see this helicopter released at some point? And I asked this question on Facebook and got the answer that yes, it is coming, together with a command helicopter.
Yeah, and that Paolo teased half a year or 1 year ago, so we've been knowing that he had that in mind, but this could be awesome. I mean...
So let's hope that we hear some more from this pretty soon, I guess. We also got a kind of little tease, the name of the next expansion book. We don't have any more information than that, but apparently the name for the next expansion will be Operation Hellgate.
Oh, yes.
And that kind of makes sense with all the Cthulhu stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see where this is going.
Yes.
To the Pacific, if I'm not mistaken.
And beyond.
Yes.
And there was also a bit of talk about a new upcoming starter box.
Yes.
And specifically a 2-player starter box.
Right.
And that's really interesting because the studio has kind of vehemently said that we are not going to do a 2-player starter box.
Yeah, tell me about this, because I've not heard about this.
Now, we heard the rumors when we were in Poland this summer that they were, or at least some people were working on trying to get that through the system because they thought it might be an easier way to get new people playing. And Marek posted when he posted about the Essen Spiel thing.
Fair,
Fair, that he was coming there and he would have some exclusive 2-player starter boxes. I'm not sure that they will be buyable after the Essen-Spiel.
Okay, it could be some kind of custom package deal.
Could be something special for just Essen. I'm not quite sure how I should interpret the semi-cryptical response, and I didn't want to pester him with a lot of questions, so I was thinking we will see it at Essen if one is able to get there. I'm not. I'm guessing you guys ain't going either.
I really would like to go someday,
Yeah.
but I think at the next opportunity is probably not my opportunity.
No.
Too few days and too few bucks to spend. So
Yeah,
Not this year.
unfortunately. Like I said, life happened.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
this is going to be interesting with the two-player starter box. We don't know anything else, basically, what's going to be included or...
No, he didn't mention anything about which fractions or blocks or anything. It could be, I don't know. Could it be the first? No,
No,
it can't
I mean,
be, it can't be the first.
I'm being
Cthulhu's.
optimistic.
Can't
I'm
be.
seeing a new coffin box here.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Oh, yes.
And-
And talking about the coffin box.
Yes.
We just had a kind of shake-up in our local community here in Sweden, and I'm kind of punishing myself for missing that opportunity.
I'm punching others for taking the opportunity. I just haven't been able to punch them
Yeah,
yet.
because one of the few stores that actually carries dust here in Sweden suddenly showed up there in their inventory. They had 2 of the original FFG coffin boxes.
Original, not
Not
used.
FFGs.
Yeah, and
it's
completely
brand
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Yes.
shrink wrap, completely new. The first time I heard about this was like a day after. So yeah, I completely missed it.
Yeah, and I take my hat off to the guys who bought them, Ulf and Essa, and that they actually opened them. I'm gonna use the thing if I got my... And the price, it was the old price from way
Yeah.
back. It was like...
I don't even think it was the old price. I think it was like half the old price or something.
was-
No.
just-
I
wasn't it
bought the
something-
coffin box.
Yeah, wasn't
right
it
in the day.
60
So-
euros?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Something
anyway,
like that?
comparing with the prices that we've seen, at least somewhat recently, it was just
Ridiculous.
ridiculously cheap.
Yes. And I mean,
So yeah, congrats to you guys.
Yeah, very much so. All right. We were talking a bit about life and life happening and life going on. And between last episode and this one, this podcast actually turned 1 year old.
Yay!
So that's kind of a big occasion for us. That's really cool. And of course, from the start, it was just me doing it. And after a while, you guys jumped on board this crazy ship as well.
Well, you invited us, and who can say no?
when you open the door, I put my foot in.
Give them the finger and
Yes, take all.
Yeah.
I'm actually now just a little bit pissed on us all 3 though. Why aren't we drinking champagne right now? Okay,
true.
people are perhaps
True.
thinking we're doing it because of the way we are, but
yeah. We'll save that for when we have your anniversary, you two guys,
okay then.
for the show.
Okay then, I
Right.
demand it. Champagne.
Yeah, that's true. We are not 1 year old yet.
Yes, we are still infants.
Yes.
Exactly. But we've been doing this for a long time. That's kind of the basic gist of it. And perhaps not all people kind of know who we are and get a feeling for us. Not everybody follows our every move on Facebook or on the Dust Monthly forums. So we were kind of thinking of doing kind of presentation rounds, and you Magnus, wrote some kind of interview questions for us.
Yeah, just a little bit. It was just, an idea that popped up in my head. I have no idea if this is going to be interesting to any of you guys out there. But anyways, who's going to start this?
Yeah, I could, because
Yeah,
it kind of
because
makes
you-
sense since I started the
Yes,
whole thing.
You are the
Yeah.
founder.
How are we doing this? Kind of round robin style? We each answer the same question and go kind of pass it on?
Yeah,
However
sure.
you want it.
All right, so...
But first off, he is now the founding father. We have to remember
Yes,
this. So
yes.
we have to...
Have to pay the proper respect.
Yes,
Yeah.
the founding father. Yes, founding
All right, so the first question, how old are you? Well, I just recently, 2 weeks ago, turned 38. So I was one of the. I kind of used to say I was there in the 70s, at least for a few months. And I don't do that as much anymore because now it's starting to hurt.
Right.
But I kind of still think of myself as young at heart. I think we all do. And I kind of isn't that kind of the reason we play games, basically?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. I think that's one way to stay in touch with your inner child or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
How about you, Luda?
How about my age?
Yeah.
You never ask a woman her age, don't you know that? No, I'm actually soon turning, oh my god, is it 44 or something like that? I'm over the hill since many years ago, and it's just going downhill. Well, I don't think we should dwell about this.
I was afraid you were going to say 16 or something.
Yes.
Mentally.
Actually, that's another story.
I actually have a friend that's she's been celebrating her 25th birthday for 10 years in a row.
That's great.
Yeah, that's one way to do it, I guess.
Yeah. And you, Magnus, how about you?
Well, in the beginning of this year, I turned 40, and I am closing in on 41.
So not quite the ultimate answer yet.
No, not yet. Have to wait a little bit longer for that.
You know, that's strange. I didn't get any insight last year when I was 42. I was totally blank that year. Perhaps that's the answer.
Yeah,
Total blank.
exactly.
I got nothing.
What do you get if you multiply 6 by 9?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so next question. What do you do for a living? Well, as for me, I kind of do double duty. Officially, I work as an IT professional. But as that company is just in the starting phases and we don't have that many clients at the moment, I'm also doubling up and doing a lot of lecturing, actually. Kind of traveling around Sweden and doing lectures about autism.
All right.
So that's what I do, and it's kind of cool because you get to see lots of parts of the country that you don't get to see otherwise. Just traveling around for work. I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds interesting.
So I'll go, and this is a hard question, actually.
Yeah, we're actually at your office at the moment recording this.
So and
what the hell is happening here?
And the thing is, just mentioning that on air and gets me in hot water, actually. And if I say what I do from my own perspective, I'll get fired tomorrow. But I don't know.
So what does the paper say?
The paper say I'm some sort of work leader for interviewers. I try to get interviewers to work more efficiently and more correctly, and well, at least that's what my job description said when I got the job. Nowadays, it's any fucking guess. It's a fucking I'm not fucking for money, not yet, but soon I think I will. I think I'll start walking the streets or something instead. I don't know. Please continue.
Right. Well, I am a surveyor engineer within the construction business. So usually in the midst of constructing houses or roads or bridges or something like that, doing measurements, basically making sure that stuff gets, right height, length, angles and stuff like that.
So none of the heavy lifting stuff?
Not exactly. Well, we do have all the instruments and stuff.
Look at him. There's no heavy lifting. I just had to cut it. I'm sorry, Magnus.
Well, you know this. What, can I do this? I don't know.
Sure.
His company's name is Theodoliten. Mm-hmm. So that's Theodore Small, if you try to translate it. And as we jokingly say, Magnus is the small one in the Theodore Small. No, it's not working. You have to cut that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it doesn't really work except in Swedish.
Yes, in Swedish it's almost funny, but not.
Yeah. Next question. How long have you been playing tabletop miniature games? And this is, well, that depends on how you define tabletop miniature games, I guess. But if you do kind of the hobby game stuff, like we're talking about with Dust and Warhammer, stuff like that, not that long for me. It's like something like 3 or 4 years. I got started basically playing games with just normal board games. Of course, when you're small, playing all the children's games. And also, I think the first real introduction for the nerdier side of board gaming was Dungeon Quest. And I think that's a lot for people my age growing up in Sweden, because as many people might not know, Dungeon Quest is originally a Swedish game. And I think it's kind of formed a lot of how the Swedish gaming community works, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
So that game, and also Talisman, that was also a big favorite back in the day. So I've been just playing board games for a long time. Got into X-Wing and was very heavily involved with X-Wing for quite a few years. I still play from time to time, but I'm not really that into it anymore. It's kind of interesting actually with X-Wing, because it's such a brain burner of a game. It takes all your energy really just to play one single match, because there's so many kind of tactics and different situations and things to think of. So you just get exhausted after one single game. So yeah, that was a long rambling answer. So about 3 to 4 years basically. So over to you, Ludde.
Well, yeah, I am, as we have already stated, the old one here. My first tabletop gaming was in the 8th grade. I was a little bit slow. I started playing Rogue Trooper, of course, 4K, the first edition. We didn't do so well. We were a little bit young. We didn't understand all the English, but we bought a lot of miniatures, and we made our own gaming tables, and we played a few games. And so I can actually say I still have the first original Predator, even though some orcs have vandalized it, so from the beginning actually, so it was irreparable. And I still have my old orcs left from the first, what do you call 10 steel? What's called in English when it's there in 10? Is it called 10 perhaps?
Yeah, the metal.
Yeah, the metal figures. So and those are never being thrown
pewter,
off.
I think is the word.
Splendid. So I've been doing this. Yeah, as soon as I understood what a tabletop game was, I started playing. I've always been fascinated with the strategic games. I could actually still pull out those hexagon games where you have paper stacks and play a game like that, and I would friggin' love it. Even though perhaps I played more of Axis and Allies when it was in the old day and stuff like that, Milton Bradley game. So yeah, well, and of course I was, as Magnus, you know, I was heavy, and I am still heavy into Battle Mech.
I think you would just kind of put a period there.
No, yeah, well, that's true as well. I am more like a Atlas or a Zeus or something like that. If you compare to, and Battletech is like, I think it's my all-time favorite game. I don't want to say that perhaps in a Dust podcast, but if I was locked in a room and only had one game to play for the rest of my life, I would still choose Battletech. Dust is now my very close second. But it's something with those battle mechs that's just... Well, long rambling answer. I took your lead and I just followed it like so. Magnus, don't feel any pressure now.
Well, I started gaming when I was very little. I can't really remember. I've been playing board games since, for as long as I can remember, basically. And I started with some Games Workshop games, I suppose. I'm not going to say it's 30 years ago, but very close to 30 years ago, like 28 or something like that. I was probably 12, 13, something like that when I started playing miniature games and painting and stuff. So it's been a while now.
Wasn't that a bit short? Can't you elaborate a little bit?
Think of your fans, Magnus. Come on.
We still have some more questions on the list.
Sorry.
All right,
Moving
so
on.
we'll move on. Next question. When did you start playing Dust? Well, for me, it was August 30th, 2014.
Wow, that's specific.
Yeah, because that was when the convention Gubbspel Galore was held here in Gothenburg, and you guys held a Dust demo.
Right.
I had actually bought a few Dust stuff already, but I haven't actually played the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first Dust game ever. That was with the demo
Right.
with you two guys.
So it was actually we who draw you down into
Yes.
the
Into
abyss.
the abyss, yes.
And I still feel a little bit dirty on my fingers, you know. And I still remember your infinite
Eyes when you just stared at us in awe. No, sorry.
Right.
But I wish I could give you that specific answer. But it was in the, let's see, it was in the coffin box era. It was before the FFG starter box, the square one.
And the revised...
The revised core box, yeah, it was before that. Because I was actually one of those guys who were looking at the AT43 and was thinking, oh, perhaps I should just try it, but I had no one to play it with actually. But then a friend who unfortunately made the wrong decision, Johannes here made the right decision. He went from Dust into X-Wing and is now a complete junkie. I won't name him here, Roina, so to shame him. But at least he gave me my first fix because he invested heavily in it, and well, that's how I got started.
Right. Well, I started something like 2009 or 10 maybe. I'm not exactly sure when it was. It was also, I can't remember, the revised core set. It was released something like
2011, I think.
Yeah, so I think I started close before that. So probably 2010 is my guess. And I'm thinking one of the reasons is probably you, Ludwig. Also, because at the time I was running,
Everything falls from the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit runs downhill.
Yeah, but I
That's
mean,
how it is.
at the time I was running a local game store
Yeah.
here in Gothenburg,
The best.
and
Sadly
we
missed.
decided that we wanted to do something with Dust because it looked so cool, and I had really no idea what it was about. I had possibly read something about it, but I didn't really know, and I just remembered this guy Ludwig. He played it a little bit. I think maybe I should ask him and see if he can, drag some stuff into the store and see what we can do with it to get things going. And yeah, that's where it started rolling.
Fun memories. That's a really shame that store had to close. But
Yeah,
life happens.
life
as it-
happens.
Yeah, so I mean, perhaps someone who's listening, hearing this podcast, starts a new game store in Gothenburg, Sweden, and
We will come and shop from you.
oh yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Marek, but if we get a local shop, we abandon you. Simple as that. No.
Alright. Next question. What is your favorite part of the hobby? Oh, that's a really tough one for me, actually, because I don't really know. I kind of dip my toe into everything. That's kind of my style. When I find a new hobby and find a new interest, I just go all in on it. I think most people who know me I don't think that will surprise anyone. And even people who don't know me would probably not be surprised by that, because I'm usually the first one to answer questions on Facebook and things like that, and rules questions and discussions. So I'm really, really invested.
Mm-hmm.
I collect all the blocks. I play as much as I can afford time-wise, not as much just recently, unfortunately. I paint slowly but surely. That's also something I really want to get going on. And the big problem is that also I'm really an incurable polygamer. Dust is definitely my number one game. It's the one I focus on, the one I really want to play the most. But I've dipped my toe in, like I said, X-Wing, 40K, Age of Sigmar, Malifaux, Judge Dredd, Batman, War Machine. I mean, I've got a ton of stuff, and it's really hard to kind of balance it at points.
So it's difficult. There are so many cool things out there. So it's difficult.
And new stuff coming all the time, and it's just hard to kind of keep focus on one thing. So I'm kind of like the squirrel that just sees, oh, there's a nut, I could go over there, and then, oh, there's another nut, and yeah. And all the time I'm the nut. So, what about you, Ludwig?
I'm doing the hobby for playing the games. If I couldn't play the game, I wouldn't be into it, I think. Although I have almost some obsessive collecting thing as well. Although I've started to learn how to stay clear of some things. I'm not buying the Luftwaffe. I'm not buying the USMC. Okay, I have a few units of them, but I'm not like I need them all. But in some others, I need to have them.
Most of us are hoarders in one way or another.
Definitely so. If you look at my hobby room, especially since I've had to switch with my daughter, so
too much.
So she has the bigger room now, and I have the small room. Then it's like a total mess with stuff that I collect. But I think, and the fix you get, not especially when you get a player like Johannes to get into the game, but when you get one of those truly newbies, because I didn't see you like that, but I mean like a young kid or a girl who just comes to you when you organize, and they get to play, and they get that first, wow, you can do this, even if they perhaps have played some miniature games, but they really get that, that awe that we get.
That wow feeling.
Yeah, that's a super thing.
Isn't that what we are chasing all the time when we are jumping to new games and looking at all the new stuff? We want to capture that feeling.
Yeah, that's why you buy new stuff, definitely. But I am actually able to keep I'm only buying Dust almost. Okay. Imperial Salt as well, but at least I'm not like you that has every game that's out there. I have 2 which I hoarder. So I'm going to go full circle now, and I haven't mentioned building yet, but I think overall building is the most awarding thing for me.
Do you mean building terrain or building models?
Everything that is building, creating, because it's a creativity, and I think I lack that in my overall life at the moment. Perhaps going back to a different question there. So just getting to shape my own miniature, I love that. And I have some miniatures that I've reshaped quite a lot, but also then doing the buildings, the sceneries, and since I've been able to start sharing my scenery, of course, with my daughter, so she can play with her Lego persons in the buildings that I build nowadays, because I don't demolish them anymore. There are no ruins on my landscapes anymore. Every building is whole. A compromise had to be made in the family. I would say building, actually.
Well, I'm also going to say building. And I mean building, models. I like actually putting models together more than I like painting them. I still like painting them, that's fine, but I actually more enjoy of putting them together. Sometimes, if there are a lot of models, that can be tedious as well, but and I also mean building as in building terrain. I love building terrain. When you especially like when you get a theme. You were talking about this before, Ludwig, like planning a complete board and actually seeing it coming together. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time to do it, but that is really fantastic. And I also think of building as in building a community, also creating something. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that there were basically nobody playing Dust, for example, and
Here in Sweden.
yeah, here
Yeah.
in Sweden, and we kind of, I wouldn't say started it, but we got it going again. That's how I feel. We put up the website, we put up some events, and we started going to other events that popped up, and kind of got the community going a bit again. We can't take credit for everything. There's a lot of nice guys in different places, but yeah, that's how I feel. Like getting, building something.
I'm sorry I'm jumping in when you are asking the question, answering your question, but yeah, but I think at least you and I, and nowadays even Johannes with the podcast and everything, but you and I really brought the guys together that are the big group now here in Sweden. I think we fished them in for so
I hope so.
I mean, I definitely feel that we are a community.
Yeah,
Yes.
now we are a community. We are more than just a group. There are a lot of players now playing, and just a couple of years back, that was not the case. So that's also what I like. Like, not only I like organizing events, but I also like building community.
Very nice. Next question. What Dust armies do you play, and what is your favorite right now? Well, I mostly play Axis. Like I said, I collect all of the different blocks, and I try to kind of try them all and try different stuff. But usually, at least when we play tournaments, I usually play Axis because I think it's because it's the play style that suits me best for how I play. And so that is probably my favorite, and with the NDAC, that has worked wonders. It's not as effective now as it was in the end of V2, but it's still really good, and I really know how to play it, so I can be very effective with it. So I would say the NDAC for the Axis at the moment.
Right.
Yeah, and I have a very strange relation to Russia. I have an admiration for everything that is Russian. I have a phobia for everything that is Russian. I have a distaste about how that country has been managed and what the people have been put through the years. But I still have a huge respect for that people and how it has been run as well. I have so dubious ways on looking at it. So I'm SSU, born, bred and raised almost. Even if I would not consider myself a lefty politically, but I'm still SSU. Russia for something talks to me in a way no the other countries don't. But of course I'm also, as everyone in Sweden in my generation and a few generations up and down, I'm heavily into English, everything that is English. We're British, we're Anglophiles, I would say.
Yes.
We are pervertedly interested in English. So anything that is British, I'll play as well, of course. And, my favorite army will always be the Russian army. I like the Chinese coming out, but it's, and I love the Dragon and the... the
Phoenix.
Phoenix. They're supermodels. I would buy them, but still they're not pure Russian. So they have to be invaded sooner or later.
You should do head swaps.
Yes.
Well, for my part, I have lots of Axis stuff, and that's where I started many years ago. So that's also what I've been playing for the most part, but over the last year and a half maybe, I have been putting together my Allied stuff, and that's what I've been playing mostly, I would say, the last year. So I would say at the moment the Allies are probably my favorites. I do have a small collection of SSU, but I haven't really played them, I haven't really painted any of that, and I have no idea when that will be. Sometime in the future, I guess I will put something together there. So I'm gonna say, right now my favorites are the Allies, but if I have to pick only one to play forever after, I would say probably the Axis actually, because I do have some old favorite units there that are just so cool.
The design of the walkers, that's what's the big trigger, isn't it?
Yeah, the walkers are really cool, but there are cool walkers all over the place in this game. So not only that, I think we'll come to that in the next question.
Yeah, I'm talking about the next question and the final question for this little Q&A session. What is your favorite character / unit in the game? And there's just so many.
And possibly why I didn't write this in the question, but
I think that's kind of implied. And I think for me at the moment it's probably the Laser Panzer, the Panzer 4 Mark A. Just because I absolutely love the way it looks with the laser barrel, the rifle. And I'm very proud of the one that I built and painted. I don't consider myself a good painter, but I had this model with me when we last went to Warsaw and played the tournament there. And I had it entered into the model painting contest. I didn't really expect to win, and I didn't. But a few people just came to me and said, "Oh, is that one of the premium painted models?" And yes, that felt so incredibly good. Just, okay, maybe I'm not such a bad painter.
No, you're not a bad painter.
Definitely not.
So I said, yeah, the Panzer 4, that's the one for me at the moment.
Yeah, this is a very hard question. I would have liked to separate unit and character.
Pick one of each if you want to.
But I'm also, even though my answer on the last question, all about the SSU, to me still there's something so epic about the Bazooka Joe Sigrid history.
Yeah, the rivalry.
The rivalry. I would still go to one of those for my favorite character, actually. At least for the moment. I was thinking Bazooka Joe primarily. I played him more, and I've had some great games with him, and it's something. And it's still that vision I have of him standing on an M4 truck, like the Rick in the Captain America kind of action-like guy. So I think I have to go with Bazooka Joe, even though I'm extremely... that's just the alarm going, yes, because it's shutting down the projector in the room, so please don't mind it. Yep. Nothing is blowing up, there's no... but it's Sigrid is like, she's the ultimate evil character, and she's the true, what do you call it, antagonist of every hero. The way she's portrayed in all media that's come out, you just gotta love her for being just so fucking awful. I mean, even, and of course,
love hating her.
Yes,
it's a love-hate relationship with Sigrid, and I love playing her with the Bloodcoats as well.
Yeah,
with a laser army and stuff like that.
Everyone loves a good villain.
Yeah, definitely, and she's the perfect villain. At least in my view. Hats off for creating her, Paolo. But I'll have to say, I think it's Bazooka Joe, and just trying to be that 12-year-old boy who thinks that when I grow up I'm going to be Bazooka Joe or something like that, or something, I don't know.
The kind of comic book hero stuff.
Yeah, because it's so sympathetic. I understand why perhaps someone else would like to go with a superhero or something like that, even if we try to be a child. But he seems like he's a human, even though he's a hero. There's something sympathetic about him. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true, and I also feel that there are a lot of cool characters in Dust. They have lots of personality, and there are some really cool stories. But I actually like the grunts. And I've played so many games with my Axis, like I said before, and I especially like the heavy Axis infantry. And sometimes one of those guys can just survive against all the odds and become like the hero of the day.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I started playing Dust with these guys. I think it's probably models from the revised core set. That was my first, the first models I actually owned myself, and I expanded with more of the heavy infantry. And I don't know. I've played so many games when these guys have just been complete heroes against all odds. So those are my favorite units for many reasons, both game-wise and from the looks of them. I think they look really cool.
Very nice.
But can we add now just a unit as well, or a walker?
Yeah, sure, if you want to.
Just a few, and I just like to also mention the hot dog, because to me, for some reason, it never worked in gameplay. I've used hot dogs gazillion times. It always fails me. It always gets blown up. But there's something about the hot dog that just always makes me think that, okay, in this game, if I just play it now, it's gonna work. But I actually think I haven't killed a single person with a hot dog, but I've played it like gazillion times. But I still love that miniature also. I love, because I was one of those that, even though it was called Ludwig, the original German walker, and I love the visuality of that walker. The Allied walker was the one that drew me into the coffin box set, and especially the hot dog version. I mean, that is just there's something beautiful about it. Let's just put it like that. So I like to mention that.
And if I could then go by that and add a character, I think my favorite character in the game at the moment is Frank von Stein.
Oh.
And also typical comic book villain kind of style, and also the fact that there's a kind of a personal connection for me personally with that model, because in the painting contest a few years ago in Warsaw, I actually got a prize for that, and I got to have one model professionally painted by a Polish miniature painter. Really fantastic paint job on this guy. And also the fact that I've had the internet nick Frankie, and I've had that since I was 12 years old. And it's actually gone to the point where I've actually added it as an official name. So yeah, that's actually my official name also.
So now I only need to add von Stein as well.
Exactly. And then the claws, and then I'm done.
And it's great that you mention him, because I hope they will come with some new stories with him in it, because I would love to know more about Frank von Stein, because he could be a great villain.
Absolutely.
And he is, in the gaming text, a great villain, but I know nothing about him, so I can say nothing about him.
We know there are some more novels coming up, so maybe someday in the future we'll see.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah. And until then, I would like to thank you two guys for sticking with us for this time, and a big thank you to all our listeners for sticking with us for an entire year, or less if you didn't start listening from the beginning. But either way, until next time, we will see you on the battlefield. All music used in this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. If you want to get in contact with me and this podcast, you can email dustwarjournals@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at dustwarjournals.